Hello, everybody, and welcome aboard the Electric Airship podcast. My name is Decent Treatment, and today we got a real treat for you. The developer of our latest games to hit consoles, somebody who shattered the earth in 2018 with their breakout hit, Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass. It is a whole-ass RPG that was made in RPG Maker, something that's relatively unheard of, and it's a really heartfelt one about family dynamics with some surprisingly traditional surrealist elements. Please welcome Kasey Ozymy aboard the Electric Airship podcast.
Hey,
Yeah.
good to be here.
Yeah.
That was a lovely introduction. I don't know if I deserve all that, but I'll take it.
Of course you do. Oh my goodness. Clearly you have so many loyal fans. You deserve a dignified introduction. But let's cut to the chase. You are definitely inspired by classic era JRPGs like Mother 3. A few of your fans, like Pat Two Man on Twitter, want to know about the games you enjoy. How'd you get started with video games?
Okay, so I started pretty early. My older brother, my older brother's 5 years older than, 5 years my senior. So like he was old enough to have like an NES, and so I, watched him play, and like any younger brother, I got infatuated with what he was doing. So
Of course.
it's hard to pinpoint like a first game that I played because of that, because that's like I was probably like 4. I do remember playing the original Final Fantasy.
Classic.
He had a TurboGrafx 16, so a lot
wow.
of the early games that I played, most people probably won't know. Like I played Nutopia. So
okay.
So any Nutopia fans out there, I played that. Double Dungeons.
Yeah.
Dungeon Explorer was another classic. Not a lot of RPGs on the TurboGrafx though, but
yeah,
those were some of my earliest games. And then I owned a Super Nintendo probably around 3rd grade, I think, is when I got that. And the first game I had on that was Final Fantasy 2 or 4 for the
awesome.
international.
Yeah. Total classic. Yeah, I can definitely see the influence with games like Final Fantasy 4. Yeah, like fascinating. So does this experience with like obscure TurboGrafx 16 games and like Final Fantasy 1 still inspire you today?
Probably the weirder stuff more than definitely like the music from like the TurboGrafx kind of things. I would say maybe more so. I feel like there was like a lot of like power metal like power metal inspired stuff on this would have been Turbo CD, which I didn't have at the time, but like the Ease series, for instance, has a big like poppy power metal stuff in it.
Oh yeah, the Ease series.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, tons of bangers in Ease. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Which like I don't know. I mean, if we're gonna get into musical inspirations, like I've listened to so much music, so it's hard to like pinpoint certain things. But definitely that kind of like melody forward, big moment thing. But yeah, I would say probably I would say the stuff that affects my games more were, like around third grade on, I feel like is when like memories were more solid, and so like those kinds of games probably were the ones that affected me more. So it would have been more like most Super Nintendo RPGs, and like PlayStation. That was like when I was playing the most games and the most RPGs for sure. So that's the kind of stuff that I think probably sticks with me more now than those like early things. Like even Final Fantasy 4 like is such a like it still almost feels kind of like a proto RPG, and it's so
Mhm.
it feels so basic now. Like when you play it, you know, like the
Yeah.
fundamental. It's like a fundamentals game. Like there's not like a lot going on mechanically that wasn't already like sort of established like NES era, right?
Right. It was kind of like, okay, we're taking it to a new console, new
Yeah.
era. Maybe that was the shtick, but they also pushed the envelope with narrative a lot in that game.
Yes, for
Uh,
sure. Yeah, Final Fantasy IV had. I mean, like you watch it now and or you play it now and it's like, um, it feels like the dramas that you come up with when you're playing with toys,
yeah,
you know, as a kid. You know,
yeah,
it's just like high drama, you know, like, oh, Sid's gonna blow himself up, and then
right.
but no, he's actually okay. And it's like I was playing with my nephew uh, uh, a while back, and it just felt like that's what it like. All of his sort of narratives that he would come up with would involve some sort of like noble sacrifice, and then like, but they're actually okay and they're back now. It's like, oh no, this character's, you know, dad died, but he's fine actually.
Right. But that's a far cry to like go to this cave for some reason and kill
Yes,
a dark elf.
yes, and there were
Yeah.
like legitimate character like attempts at characters, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like you know, probably more later era Super Nintendo is like what sticks with me more. So
Oh
like if
yeah.
we're gonna stay with Final Fantasy, like six, I think was
Oh
the first
yeah.
like, you
Final
know.
Fantasy
I
6,
mean,
baby.
oh yeah, excellent shirt.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, I mean, I remember in elementary school that there was like a little merch catalog that I somehow
Mhm.
got from. I don't know if it came with the game or something, but I ordered like I had a watch. I had a Final Fantasy
No
VI
way.
Moogle
Oh,
watch. I
swag.
did, and I had a hat, and I cannot find them anymore. I don't know what happened to them, but I wish I still had them.
Oh my goodness. That would be so awesome. I need the Final Fantasy 6 watch too.
It's great. If I remember correctly, it was the Moogles. It was the Moogle art that's on the cover. So you know the
Uh-huh.
one where it's like they tried to make a Moogle look really like cool.
Yeah.
You know, like he's like all kind of like extreme.
Yeah.
And then I think that his arms are the hands, but
It's kind of
this is
cool.
from my childhood, so I could be off on that.
Yeah. That sounds incredible. Gosh, you've been dripped out this whole time.
Yeah.
So, speaking of drip, uh, we've got a fan question from somebody who makes copious drip. These great Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass pins. When did you first play Yume Nikki, and what impact did it have on you?
So Yume Nikki, I probably came to. I feel like there's a lot of younger devs who were probably inspired by that because they played it when they were young.
Uh-huh.
I am 41, so I played it. I actually played it a little late. Um, it was prior to making Jimmy for sure. I just had this stint where I was working with RPG Maker for a bit at this point, and I was like, I haven't really played any RPG Maker games, like,
Mhm.
and I should do that. And so I just went through and I tried to hit all the most well known ones, and then like ones that were like recommended on forums, and then Then I just started picking ones that I thought looked interesting, or even looked bad, and like played just sort of like a wide breadth of RPG Maker stuff just to
Of
see
course.
what I could do. And also like when I started playing the bad ones, I was like, oh yeah, there's lots of like lessons here, you know. But
Mhm.
Yume Nikki was like top of the list. So that was probably like the first one I played when I was like really looking. And
Oh, it's a household name, right? Yeah.
yeah, and it was just like, you know, I mean, it was like a like what if like this like a there was a silent exploration David Lynch game. Like it was
Yeah.
just in,
Word.
you know, it was just really interesting. And you know, like the it took a lot of lessons from there, primarily with how to deal with a dream space, you know, in
Mhm.
RPG. It not even like Yume Nikki is not like an RPG, but you know, and also just sort of like the idea of how a dream space in a game like this is like, okay, well now setting is characterization, um,
Mhm.
and like
Mhm.
what to do with that idea. And it's like, and really, Jimmy was just sort of like, uh, how do I like take a Yume Nikki and then like make it into like an honest to god RPG, you know?
Right.
That was really like, I mean, I think I started with the idea first, but like once I had the idea, I was like, oh yeah, this is totally gonna pull from Yume Nikki, right? Like this is just the
Mhm.
same ballpark.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Fascinating, fascinating. So pretty profound influence
for
artistically.
sure.
Definitely comes through in like the Ebezel area,
Mhm.
things like this, and throughout the whole game, right? Um, awesome. So yeah, I mean, like, do any more obscure influences find their way into your work?
Uh, for sure, yeah. Like game wise, um, so like for him, right? Game I'm currently working on. Um, I very publicly like it's inspired by the Linus series. Like I don't
Oh,
know anyone who's like I don't know anyone in real life other than like personal friends who I've recommended to that have played a Linus game. Uh, you might have played Paladin's Quest because that did come out in North America. Linus 2 has a fan translation, um, and is I super recommend. It's just a really interesting game. You know, like mostly because of the world and atmosphere of it. You
mm-hmm.
know, but yeah, and like I was saying earlier, like there's a lot of like even like games that maybe weren't great, both like professionally made and like made by professionals and amateurs. Like you pull lessons from it. So
Definitely.
I don't know. Like I had a pretty wide game diet when I was a kid. Now probably less so because I just like spend most of my time working or making games,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's about it. You know, like you just like that's just sort of the joy of becoming an adult is losing all of your free time. But yeah, like you know the Breath of Fire series probably less obscure, but I definitely pull heavily from that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
really more like three than
Mm-hmm.
the other ones, and
Right.
three and four, because I just feel like that is like the best example of just like a game that gets like battle fundamentals right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. It's just like every encounter in that game, there are the encounters. Well, not maybe not every encounter, but the bulk of them they have little micro mechanics, right? Like there's like little things that the enemies have that give them like identities,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that I try to do all the time. Like I feel like that's just like a key lesson that not everybody gets. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
it's really easy just to just kind of make enemies that are just attack
Right.
or use some spells or something, but
That's
they
the hard
have
part. That's the creative
yeah,
part of like creating a battle system.
yeah. I mean, that's the part I like. I really
Mm-hmm.
enjoy like thinking about that kind of thing. And then
Yeah.
Breathfire also has a thing which is something I would love to steal, where it enemies will have skills that you can like you can observe enemies and like learn their skills,
Uh-huh.
and that's just it's just like a neat let's also give these like long-term benefits to enemies for people who like pry open the encounter a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy has that to a degree with like steals, like some, you know, and like furniture steals and that kind of thing, but like, you know, I would definitely love to do that, more of that kind of thing with with my mechanics in the future, you
Right. Huh. Learn a little bit more about, the enemies mechanically, but also like maybe their character.
know.
Um, I love sort of inferring what the enemy is like as a character based on what they're carrying. Um, like yeah, fascinating, fascinating stuff. Um, yeah, so how did you discover RPG Maker?
uh I'm not really sure where I saw this originally. I'm guessing probably at a GameStop, but I had, like I said, my big uh my sort of era of games, like when I was playing the most games, was Super Nintendo through
Uh-huh.
PlayStation, and I caught a little bit of PS2, but like there is a PlayStation RPG Maker.
Mm-hmm.
It
Oh,
is
it's got a
not great.
crazy cover.
It does have it. Yeah, it's like red. It's red, and there's like a guy that's like imagining the RPG that he's gonna make. So there's all these like
And the
monsters and stuff,
dragons look
right?
like terrifying, you know? They're like
Yeah,
really coming out to get you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some weird monster designs in there too, like in the
Yeah.
actual editor. But yeah, like I played that. Um, this is me in high school. That's I played that in high school a lot.
Sick.
I'd come and I made a game in RPG Maker on PlayStation. That is not good. It's got it definitely has some. Let's see. There was I think the main character's name was Axel, and he had a black leather jacket with like fire on it, and also fire. He had leather pants, also black with fire on it.
Incredible. Sounds like Punch Tanaka.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah, and his he wasn't cool. He wasn't cool in the slightest. So, and he also his special move, of course, was called slash and burn, because I learned about slash and burn farming, and I was like, that's a cool term. I'm going to make that a skill. That was me in high school. But
Sweet.
yeah, I probably put like I don't know, like 200 hours into like this PlayStation One RPG Maker game. And
Fun.
then I went to college and focused more on that. And I found out that there was a PC RPG Maker, like, halfway through college. And so I picked that up and like played with it a little bit, like 2K3, just like a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just hit like went to college. I got my master's in
Wow,
English.
incredible.
Yeah, I don't know. It hasn't served me that well, but I got my in is English with like creative writing was my focal point. But
Mm-hmm.
so I like afterwards I was trying to start a band
Mm-hmm.
that didn't really go anywhere. But as I was like kind of working on music and seeing that wasn't like really going to happen, I was like, maybe I'll dip my toe in RPG Maker, like because I did kind of have this like, I mean, like at like early 20s, like I feel like you just have like you can see like an infinite amount of like potentials of like how
Mm-hmm.
your life's going to turn out,
Sure.
and like that can get like a lot of people will get stuck there and just be kind of like, oh well, I don't know what to do, And for me, it was like I'm gonna do it all. Like I had that like idea. So I always like when I went to school, I was like, I'm gonna get good at writing and I'm gonna make games because
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like an issue with a lot of games is the writing isn't that good. So I want to make sure that I have like a good backbone for that.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so yeah, I just like and then meanwhile I've been like getting this music, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be like, of course, like this really great metal guitarist that everybody knows that also makes games. uh,
Hell
and so
yeah.
like and then I just like I don't know, in that time I was kind of like I learned an instrument and like got pretty good at music. And yeah, then I was just kind of like, why don't I just like synthesize this stuff together and just like make a game. So that's kind of how I got into RPG Maker for real. Was kind of in that like at that point, kind of early mid 20s. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with my life.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of energy,
Okay.
push me
Right
forward.
on. Yeah, but like there was always this assumption like I want to make games. Like you got into the
Yeah,
English to make the games and you know,
yeah,
etc.
yeah. There, like, if you, I might be able to unearth if I look really hard a bunch of spiral notebooks at my dad's house where
Mhm.
I have like where I had planned out games when I was a kid. So
Mm,
it was always like there's always an infatuation with video games,
of
RPGs in
course.
particular.
Yeah. Same. Yeah, good times. So, gosh, I'm curious about the metal guitar. Are we going to hear any of that in Hymn to the Earless God?
Well, yeah, like I mean, there's like I don't record my own playing, and that's
Mm-hmm.
mostly because I don't really know how. Like,
Oh.
I've tried recording, and it's just like if you do like if I use like my good amp,
Mm-hmm.
which was like professional quality. Like I was trying to start a band, so like I bought the the stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like too loud, and I don't really know how to record
Mm.
correctly. That was sort of a hurdle that like maybe if I probably if I would have cared about it more if I because I also was like nervous to play in front of people,
Of
so
course, yeah.
there was probably some self-sabotage happening, but like yeah, I just never really like could figure that out, and but I also use you know a Reason, so like it's a pretty good DAW,
Uh-huh.
and the guitar effects are good enough on there. Like you got to tweak them a bit, but like
Yeah.
that there's definitely you know you can definitely hear metal guitar in the game. It's
Mm-hmm.
just stuff that is using it's synthesized, but it still
Yeah.
sounds fine.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You're making some just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
totally beautiful, expansive tracks with just the DAW. You don't need
Mm.
to necessarily record. Um, well, cool. Good to hear about the metal guitar. I had no idea. Yeah. So, we've heard about your first game dev project. Interview is going great so far. But for people who are unaware, let's talk a little bit more about Jimmy. It's a 16-bit horror RPG. It takes place in the dream of an 8-year-old boy. And so when the pulsating mass threatens his family and the stability of the dream world itself, Jimmy sets out on an adventure to save his family and eradicate the pulsating mass. Along the way, he must work with his family, confront his shortcomings, and brave the creeping nightmares of his subconscious. So, don't take up all the space on X asks, on a scale from 1 to 10, how fun was making this game?
Okay, so all right, a scale of 1 to 10. I'm gonna the okay. Making a game is I think this is a shared experience. I think anyone that's made a game will understand this. It's a nightmare. It's like there's so much work. Like it's not that I would say like it's not totally without fun. Like you definitely there are small moments where you're like, of achievement that happen when making a
Hmm.
game where you're like, sweet, I got that to work, or
Yeah.
that actually looks nice or whatever. Um, and so it's rewarding, but it's not fun so much as it's like I gain contentment from it,
Hmm.
which I think is more important long term for sure. But I mean, a lot of game dev is like, all right, I made an encounter, or well, we'll say I made a level,
Hmm.
and I spent 2 weeks doing this, and I made a tile set, and I implemented everything. Great. I'm gonna now do that 50 times, and
Uh-huh.
it's just there's a lot of repetition,
Yeah.
and a lot of the time you kind of find yourself doing the parts that you don't really want to do. Like if it were
Right.
just up to me, I would go in and be like, I'm gonna design. I'm gonna get spreadsheets together of how
Hmm.
this all the mechanics are gonna work, and I'll even like, and I'm a freak, so I'll even be like, oh, I'll do this, like have the formulas down and stuff too, and like that's
Nice.
enjoyable. Like there's like a real like that satisfies the mathy part of my brain, and then I'll be like, yeah, now I'm gonna do the soundtrack. That's really fun for me, and I'm gonna write all the dialogue. That's really fun, and then I'll be like,
Hmm.
time for the next one. That would be the perfect game dev experience for me. But instead, what game dev is mostly for me
You
is
have to
like
actually make the
drawing
game part.
NPCs. Yes, there's so much, like it's just there's so many, like it's like cool, like with him right now I'm doing NPC animations, and it's just like
Hmm.
I don't know, I've done 60, 70 of them. They keep
Hmm.
coming, and it's just repetition. So I would say that i I reject the premise of this question because game dev by definition is not fun. So it's like I would say maybe if you really want to give me like, or if I really want to give you like a 1 to 10 score, maybe like a 3. Like there's moments that I would say are definitely fun, but when you do anything at to this degree,
Mm-hmm.
like it's work after a bit, and
Right.
it's you know, like maybe fun in the same way that like mowing the lawn is fun. So
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's okay. It's mostly I'm getting contentment from it, I would say, and you know, it's like justifying my own existence, which I think is more important than fun, I'd say, but it's not a roller
Yeah.
coaster, you know.
Right. You got to be in it for the fresh smell of cut grass
Yeah.
and dignity.
Mhm.
Yeah, love it. So, yeah, a few expansive moments here and there, but for the most part, it's like a very disciplined, nose to the grindstone mentality. Respect out to you. Respect out to you, and all the devs out there. Definitely can empathize. So, yes, that is incredible. My friend Louis asks,
Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass captures something very unique, and that is the fear of a child having a bad dream. When you're young, it's one of the most, how do I put it? Probably the fear that's most strong that I've ever felt as a child. Having a dream of something that makes no sense. It, the great thing and terrible thing about nightmares is it can be the most horrific, most painful experience, but it doesn't have cohesion. It's inconsistent. It is a disconnected web of thoughts and memories forced together in an unnatural way, and that makes them so horrifying. Like, one of the best scenes in the game, it was when your older brother is taunting you about the horror movie that you accidentally scored to do with the skinless people. And it's like, that sort of, it just reminds me of a child and seeing something horrifying like a piece of media, and it sticks with you and you remember it, and it begins to distort with your dreams and memory, and it becomes something far larger than life. I just love the game so much. I truly do. And I just want to hear your thoughts on how you do horror. What do you think of this incomprehensible dreamlike world which has a strain of logic through it, but nothing a player can comprehend because it's a bad dream? And I love that. So thank you very much for your time. I'm Lou Morel, and I love you deeply. Uh, all my creatures love you too, and take care, love.
Okay, so it's a good question. Um, I think that the seed of every decision in Jimmy is uh is a character decision. You know, it's a character like character is always the focal point, right? Like so any like I mentioned earlier, like with Yume Nikki, the main lesson I learned there was and this is like a lesson that is like, you know, maybe it seems obvious, but the emphasis is important, and that's that setting is characterization in a dream world. So every location needs to be um, important
mhm,
uh, in some way to characterizing Jimmy. I can expand that to an extent and be like, yeah, it's important for like Jimmy's family as well, characterize other characters, right? But those other characters are also characterizing Jimmy because they're about how Jimmy sees people and not necessarily how people are.
mhm.
Um, so that's kind of at the root of everything. And I mean, like, and I think there's like I think it was Kurt Vonnegut that said like every like line of a story needs to like either characterize or like push the plot forward, and that's like that was like, you know, really the consideration for Jimmy as well. But you know, with Jimmy, it's just like it's so easy for like setting details and stuff to characterize, you know. Um, so for the nightmares, you know, I mean, like, yeah, part of me wishes I would have put even more of a emphasis on this kind of thing, because sometimes I was just like, okay, yeah, this is like, how can I make like on something like Grimclaw's area, for instance. It's like, okay, how can I personify fear fights into a level? So there wasn't like a lot of like, what does this mean for Jimmy? And I wish I would have done more of that. And if I ever do a sequel, I would do more of it. I would swerve more towards this needs to really be like character focused. But yeah, like so I do think that some of the more interesting writing wise levels are things like Mad Queen's Castle, which it's like maybe that one doesn't have like some of the best mechanics. Like I wish I could have like in retrospect made that a little stronger. But like in terms of like what that level means for Jimmy in his perceived relationship with his mother is way I feel like just makes more interesting material, but yeah, like other than that, like sound is super important with horror, so like making the nightmare areas pop was like, first of all, there's the big difference between like you're walking around the giant garden or something, right, and then you like duck in to Whisper Weaver's area, and the sound is like the contrast between the visuals and the audio really matter.
That's the first moment where I'm like, oh, this is a horror game, like the sort of like encroaching lighting effect. It's so simple but surprisingly effective.
Yeah, and that one was really like the like you're gonna dip your toe in this a little bit, right? It's just like these areas exist in the game, right? Like it's pretty easy to spot it, and then you walk into it and it's like you don't have to fight a boss yet, you just kind of get like just a little glimpse, and then you can get into more in-depth ones later. But yeah, I mean, like focusing on the contrast, spending a lot of time on the soundscape. Like I was doing a lot of the music, musical inspiration for those types of things was like 20th century. I'm just going to say like, I guess 20th century classical music. I can't think of the right term for it, but it's like more academic music from the 20th century, where they really got into like the weird aspects of music. So you'll see stuff like this was something I kind of picked up in college, like texture density, for instance, like that kind of thing, where it's just like the focus is more on instead of a melody, you might take every note of a chromatic scale and play it simultaneously, right, and get like a really thick texture.
Yeah.
You'll hear that in horror movies a lot, that kind of thing. And then there's like, or I'll do polyrhythms and like weird stuff rhythmically that kind of gets you off kilter a little bit. Yeah, so like I mean, like even like Whisper Weaver, right, like that little clapping effect, I think I have is a polyrhythm in there. It's been a while, I'd have to listen to it again, but like just like that was actually shoot, I'm not gonna remember. That was inspired by a band called the so so that's the word "the" twice, the
yeah.
The main guy from the his very first album, and I cannot remember the name of it, but he has a similar clapping effect, and I just thought that was so cool, and so I did like a riff on that. But anyway, yeah, I don't know, like I'm getting off topic, but yeah, so
no, this is great.
Focus on contrasts, try to make the nightmares have a logical seed to them with how it characterizes Jimmy, and really try to get at what is this kid really afraid of. And I'm also like a big proponent of like the dread over jump scare kind of horror. Yeah, so like I think The Shining is a scarier movie than Scream. For instance, like they're both valid films and everything, and like I've seen a lot of horror, And I do like slashers and that kind of thing, but at the end of the day, what I think is, the most frightening is that sort of like weight on your chest feeling of doom.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so trying to capture that feeling while keeping those other things in mind. I think that's pretty much encapsulates my
Interesting.
strategy there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm hearing like a really strong emphasis on, sound design and musical composition, which surprisingly is very fundamental to, I think, the impression of horror in Jimmy. Yeah, and also this sort of like almost Kubrickian slow burn. Uh, Very cool. So, what do we got? What do we got? We've got features like the skill book and the imagination system give players a lot of creative flexibility in Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass. How do you encourage them to experiment with new builds and abilities up to the final boss?
I mean, like, so part of it is the things that, like, the question states, right? Like the skill books and the imagination system. Like those skill, really more the skill books are kind of drip fed to you, over the game, and also a lot of them are hidden. Like you can purchase them and use them, a lot of them and use them, but like a lot of the neat ones are, you do like a big dungeon, and there's, it gets frightening, and like you get to the bottom and there's this big boss, and then you fight it, and there's the big feeling of relief, like it. I tried to make, there's like a spectacle there, and then your reward are these, 2-3 chests, or 3-4 chests, and like, you open it and you get a new skill book. You're not going to just ignore it. Like you want to check it out. Like it's your reward. You've pushed for this, and I try to make those things like often kind of game changing. Like a lot of
Hmm.
the, because I like, I don't like, I guess a pet peeve of mine is going through a game and opening chests and just getting like, cool, I've got, copper sword, and then it's like, cool, now I have an iron sword, and it's like, this is
Yeah.
5 better than copper sword. And like, you do need that to a degree in games. Like there needs to be like, because there's something to it where it's just like, yes, I'm building up, my character's getting stronger, but
Hmm.
there's also like way more excitement when you open up a chest and it's like, oh, this does a weird thing,
Yeah.
and you can kind of change your build to, you know highlight it and like really make it shine. And so
Yeah.
I tried to do that. I don't know if I was successful with all of my skill books, but like, part of it is that drip feed over the course of the game. Part of it is the party composition changing.
Hmm.
So Jimmy's kind of like skill set is so broad that he can kind of fill any gap.
Word.
So that was like, part of it was just like, okay, well, I'm going to start you with, you know a DPS guy,
Hmm.
and then it's like, and then you're going to get like a healer, you're going to get support item user, and then it's like, okay, now you're going to get like a mage like thrown in, and you're going to lose this character, and you're going to, and then just keep shifting that, and then you're just like, okay, you're going to lose your healer for a while, and so it's like, now you're going to have to kind of fill that gap in with Jimmy. So that just requires you to be like, okay, well, maybe Jimmy healer isn't bad, and then you get your healer back and you're like, well, I don't need 2 healers, but then I don't know, maybe you get like an ability that changes your healer into a DPS.
Yeah. One of my favorites is like when Andrew finds that book and then all of a sudden he can
Yeah,
like hit people over the head with a heavy book instead of
yeah,
casting spells.
yeah. The class, the
Um
the encyclopedia set. Yeah, that's
yeah. Yeah, good times. Um yeah, so many details like that, so many ways to customize builds in this game. It's very, very commendable. Um, yeah, it's like these rewards at the end of pathways. It really encourages 100% completion. You've got quests in every corner of the world. The backtracking is also very rewarded. So, I mean, how do you approach designing like optional content like quests so it doesn't feel like filler?
Um, so I think like I kind of mentioned spectacle earlier, and I think that's kind of like that's a big part of it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like because yeah, it is easy to just like if you just put a dungeon, there's some treasures at the end, and that's it. Like you do bare bone stuff, even that feels valuable potentially,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like because you do get items there. Like it doesn't feel bad, but it's like I mean, like at the end of the day, I guess I looked at it at Jimmy and like kind of what distinguishes Jimmy from like the like sort of proto or the projects I did prior to that is like I just really looked at myself and was like, what do I even enjoy
Mm-hmm.
about games? Like, what do I even enjoy about games? And it's like a big part of that is like feeling of exploration. So it's like, okay, that needs to be rewarded. Like, what do I like about exploration? And it's like, so a lot of it is there's a novelty to just about every level. Like, it all feels um, unique. When you go into a new level, like sometimes the game's genre changes entirely. Like in Turnbuckle's Mansion, right? Like that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
that's an adventure game all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I didn't. I did rip. I ripped that idea off big time from a game called Mystic Arc. So another
Interesting.
weird Super Nintendo recommendation. Even though the game is very flawed, it has a an adventure game element to it that they
Mm-hmm.
then there's sort of like you go to different worlds, and one of them is like haunted house world, and it's just like goes full on into adventure game. And it was so good that I totally stole that
Wow.
idea.
I had no idea. Like, I would have never expected it was from an RPG and not like, Resident Evil or something.
I mean, it's definitely it's like I mean, adventure games in general, right? Like there's stuff I
Yeah.
do in that like where I'm totally doing like LucasArts shtick, where it's like
Uh-huh.
what's the point of using the book for this? Like sarcastic, like really
Right.
dry,
Yeah.
sarcastic. Like I don't think the book's going to work
Like,
like
go here,
that,
do
Jimmy.
thing,
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Mhm.
but I've totally lost the plot. Where are we even at? uh,
Um, yeah, yeah. The side quests, and like how do you make them feel meaningful? And then we kind of like meandered into
yeah.
this
Okay.
mansion discussion, which is very
Yes.
interesting. Yeah.
So like an emphasis on spectacle, I think, is part of it. Like
Yeah.
and novelty. So the a good example of this is like if you go to that cave behind the waterfall,
Mm-hmm.
there is a single room in there where water droplets will drop into urns,
Mm-hmm.
and they make a sound. They make different pitches depending on which water drop or which urn is activated or whatever. And it just
Mm-hmm.
sort of it's just like a little randomized music track essentially. And there's like something there for how for Jimmy's relationship with music and his mother, and um, like and those two things combined, right? Like, and there's no reason I didn't need to put the room there. Like he could have just like walked straight into the dungeon. That's just like uh, I don't know. To me, it's just like when I'm exploring and I see that it's interesting, and it like pulls and like maybe like what I hope most people do is they stop there for a second, like kind of listen to it, and I don't know, it's intriguing, and like it's at the end of the day, like there's the how does this game make me feel
Mm-hmm.
question, that just kind of plays throughout like every sort of like moment in the game. It's like I would like to think about sort of what like how this is evoking emotions or like or thought, you know
Mm-hmm.
um and I think maybe that is the main reason why, at least why I hope that the optional areas feel like not a waste of time, because it's just really it is really easy. Like I don't know, like I think if you just like look at a game and think about like, oh, I need to pad this out, that's when you get boring whatever
Mm-hmm.
content. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like if you're actually thinking about like how can I make this meaningful, like mechanically or character wise, then then it's worth it, you know.
Well
And it's
said.
and I think the players will think it's worth it too.
Right. So, for you, the optional areas were kind of like about broadening the emotional palette of the game.
Mm.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Definitely comes out like with the Ibizel area, you know, it's like, I don't know, all of a sudden you're in a very sort of like dense, like repetitive, like like abrasively repetitive, horror atmosphere. And it's a very stark contrast to the sort of like happy-go-lucky holiday themed level before.
Right.
Um, yeah, so good times. So just speaking on like briefly some of the side content, Gob on X asks about the Mr. Cat side story, very evocative that is. It reminded me of when I was very little and would overhear a horrible news story on TV detailing some brutal, violent crime, and it would stick with me for days. Can you share your own thoughts on Mr. Cat?
So yeah, like there is first off, that's like a very valid interpretation of it. Um, you know, I mean, I have a hard time discussing intent, questions on intent like this because I don't want to sort of ruin the experience of like, you know, the player experiencing it. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know how much I want to go into it then, but there's definitely a Mr. Cat is like of all the like sort of bonus horror levels, Mr. Cat's is very important. Um, and sort of Smile, you know, what happens to Smile as a result of that, and like sort of like what Smile is in terms of the world of Jimmy. I think like if I were trying to analyze it, I think, you know, those would be the things I would be thinking about. I guess it's probably that's about as much as you're going to get from me on that one.
Uh-huh. Very interesting. All you video essayists out there. Good times. So, some mystery for you about Mr. Cat. Another fan question. We've got something from Shino Sarna on X. What inspired Jimmy aside from games like books, movies, cartoons?
Well, like I said, I've seen so many horror films that like I got into horror maybe a little older, maybe like 20 early 20s, and then I like really got into it for a while.
Right.
So there's just like a lot there that it's hard to pinpoint like specific things. I did mention The Shining. I would say maybe with how I went about uh I feel like that's one of the best examples of just and the one that like, you know, enough people are familiar with The Shining that I think it's a good one to point to of just sort of like how dread is the focal point. It's
Hmm.
definitely not the only movie that does that, but I would say
Yeah.
that that's definitely, you know, something that inspired me. You know, music
Yeah.
wise, I've already mentioned several things. Like, you know, I 20th century, you know, modern music. You know, even like I even got some like David Cage in there with a random, like randomized notes. Um,
Aha. Interesting.
yeah, there's Charles Ives was an inspiration for like for the maybe not my best track though, but for the track for Jonathan Barrow's or the Carnival music,
Hmm.
um, of just sort of like an idea of having two different tracks playing simultaneously. Like I forget what there's
Yeah.
like a Charles Ives piece that's like I the way I experience music is like when I went to a fair and I heard like Calliope music happening over here and this happening over here and this happening over here. So you have like multiple things happening simultaneously. Um, you know, texture density. I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Even there's I did like a whole tone thing with again not my best track, but with in the Mad Queen's castle. So that's like where you use, or not. Is it Hotel Music? Anyway, I probably screwed up, but it's where you use every note of the chromatic scale in like in multiple sequences, so that the idea being like how can we make something completely atonal, because there's going to be like an implicit tonality even if you use 11 of the 12 notes of the chromatic scale. So it's like, well, you use all 12 notes, but then you also have to use them 12 different times in a random order or like a different order each time, and that's the only way it can truly be atonal. So I think I did that as a backbone for that track, and then I had like a repeating atonal melody on top of it, which then made it on some level tonal. It pulled it to a key by doing that. So I wasn't like full on let's do that, but like, you know, I mean,
kind of
still
grew from that impetus.
Yes, and so like definitely music. There's like a lot of inspirations there. I mentioned David Lynch before. I think that he's kind of like and maybe there are more directors before this that I am just unaware of. But at least for modern sensibilities, he laid the blueprint for how to approach dream space on film. And like at the time, I think this was probably not something I thought about when I was making Jimmy, but it was very much like looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely was born from Lynch. Like, and at that point, I think I'd probably the only dream Lynch films I'd seen, where I'd seen the original run of Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me, Eraserhead, and Mulholland Drive. And since then,
interesting.
And like, so there's definitely like I mean, like when Lynch died, I was like, why haven't I, like, I loved those movies. Why didn't I, and the show for Twin Peaks, but like, I was like, why haven't I seen more of it? Like his stuff, you know, like I'd seen some of his other stuff too, like Dune, and
he was very, very prolific.
But yeah, like Lost Highway and Inland Empire. If you have not seen them, especially Inland Empire, they are amazing. And if you want to like just think about how to approach dream space, like watch. I mean, probably start with Mulholland Drive, but like Inland Empire is just like phenomenal. But yeah, like and then obviously Jimmy has plenty of video game. I think it's an other than video game inspiration. So I guess I'll go on this. But you know, obviously Earthbound, I'll just mention.
Fascinating. Oh my goodness. So goodness. I mean, I was not expecting to hear so much about David Lynch today, but it definitely tracks now that you're mentioning it. You know, like there are some areas in Lynch films where it feels like you can almost like smell the atmosphere. Like you're very much set in a room, the vibrant colors, and I definitely feel like that's the case in Jimmy the Pulsating Mass. And you know, the sense of sort of like this disconnected dream logic as well. Good stuff. So there you go, Shino Sarna on X. Definitely some recommendations for you to check out. So I'd like to know, are you familiar with ZDS, the developer?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
He did well, now I'm blanking on it. Three Ghostly Roses, yes.
Incredible game.
Yeah, it's he's great.
Yeah, that's like one of my favorites. So yes, you've got a big boy asking you a question today. Huge fan of yours. He says, "I'll go heavy." Was the story based off something personal to you, or was this just your imagination going wild?
So, column A, column B on that. Like, I guess maybe what this is getting at is like, have I had any cancer experience? And the answer is no. And I am thankful that that's the answer. You know, obviously I've heard plenty of stories and those have influenced Jimmy, but like, what definitely was the inspiration to me is what it's like to be 8. What it's like to be a kid.
Mhm.
And like how a kid would react in this situation. Like that kind of thought, like, taking sort of like my own experiences with just like what I was like being a kid, and then being like, how would I have responded? And I just feel like kids, the world's about them, like at some level, like they have like this like huge, um almost like a feeling of responsibility but for what happens around them, is a
Mhm.
big part of it. And they take everything on even though they don't need to. And that
Right.
that was a big part of it. you know Buck, for sure, like the sort of like I said, I had an older brother's five, or I do have an older brother still alive, who's 5 years older than me. And just like he was like Buck was like, my brother is not one to one with Buck by any means, but there are elements of Buck that I definitely pulled from my own relationship with my older brother. So
Mhm.
so there's
Yeah.
definitely that kind of thing I think is rooting it. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I luckily have not had um, uh, a cancer scare or
Right.
relatives who died from cancer. Well, I mean,
Right.
I
But to
have,
drill a
but
little bit deeper with this, right?
mhm,
Like, there's all these vignettes, like in the movie theater, for example, that feel very candid. Like
mhm.
you're getting all of a sudden, contrastingly real perspective on Jimmy's life.
Mhm.
Do any of these sort of like pull more directly from your life?
So not all of them, but I'll tell you the one where Jimmy gets pinned under the barbell.
Mhm.
My older brother got into working out big time. That
Mhm.
I never got pinned under a barbell like that. That didn't happen. But
Mhm.
the sort of like what did happen was he pushed me really, like I was a sedentary boy as a kid.
Mhm.
So I had no desire to sort of like you know get physically strong or anything like that. And he did
Mhm.
like push me to do that kind of hard one summer. And
Right.
it didn't last very long, but like sort of that, definitely the feelings from that made it to the game. So yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Well, naturally, kind of like emphasize these emotions so they're more communicable, but that definitely does come across. There's a very poignant dynamic there. Um, Thank you so much for sharing. Uh, yeah. Okay. So more fan questions. We've got some psycho on Blue Sky, who asks, "How do you feel about the character of Hitomi now that the game has been out for a while?"
You know, Hitomi serves her purpose. Like, she's, I guess I can't go I don't want to go too far into intent, but like, she's obviously not uh she's not like a Lars or a Helga who has like an anchored real person, in reality. There's no real version of Hitomi out there, for
Mhm.
Jimmy. Um I think since then I've seen a few more magical girl animes, and I probably could have done her better. But I think that, like, functionally, I think she's working.
Yeah. She's Lars's perfect,
Yeah,
Japanese girlfriend.
exactly. I mean, like, like I could have done her more perfect, I guess. Like, her design is crazy. For instance, like that, she doesn't look anything like a magical girl. So like that would be some. But also, like, a lot of like art decisions, right, are me battling with my own. Like, she's not going to have like a really, interesting like skirt or something, because fabric's hard to draw. So she's,
Right.
there was like at the time, battling with that kind of thing. So that probably influenced her design a bit more than it should. But
Interesting. Yeah,
But
I
yeah.
always thought it was interesting how she almost looks like you started with the Jimmy sprite and
Mhm.
then sort of drew feminine clothes
Yeah, probably.
on Jimmy. Uh, yeah, interesting stuff. So, good to get a candid perspective on Hitomi. Next, we've got a question from Fabulous Mario on X. Um, what was it like developing the art style for the game?
Okay, so it was uh pretty early. I would say it kind of started. Okay, I guess first off, I was working on like a proto Jimmy, which I've kind of like I've shared before. So like I'm assuming like if you're like writing in to this interview, you've probably seen this, but it was like, the world was like kind of like done in crayon and then with like sprites on top of it, and
Hmm.
like the sprites were like crazy looking now, like because that was like the first time I was like, let me try to like make my own art, you know.
Right.
Uh, then I did a game for the indie game maker contest called Heart
Hmm.
Pumps Clay, and I don't know if it's like necessarily like a fully successful game, but that one I was like, I'm gonna go. I'm really gonna try on this art, and some of the monster sprites in there could have been in Jimmy. Like that. That's kind of where I was like, kind
Hmm.
of getting that style down. Um, so I mean, like then I went. Then I was when I made the decision. Like after I made that game, I was just kind of like, why don't I just like try to make? Because I think at the time I was really wanting to like get a team together and like make a game,
Hmm.
but like it's hard to find other people on like RPG Maker forums to like form a
Word.
team because most of them are like they're either already kind of in like have like a team dynamic going, or more there's a lot of weird people like me that go in and they're like weird solo people who have like this
Yeah.
dream and they want to pursue that, and then it's like, so being able to convince me, oh no, just give that up and work on my game instead. Like you basically have a community of people that are sort of secretly hoping
Yeah.
that, you know, and it's just like I was like, I'm not gonna be able to find a team. Like
Mhm.
it's like I need to like consider then like what if I just did it, and I was
Right.
like, I felt comfortable on like basically everything other than the art. So the art was like my last like, okay, I'm gonna make Jimmy's house,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna make Jimmy's sprite, and I'm gonna make a monster. And so the monster I made was Whisper Weaver. Actually, it was the first monster I drew. I was like, I'm gonna try to make a really good monster, and I was like, that's like
Oh,
still,
fascinating.
yeah, that's still like one of my favorite designs.
Oh, brilliant design.
Um,
Yeah, I'm so surprised that was the first one.
It was, yeah. I was like, I'm gonna, because I didn't want to just make like a little mook. I wanted to make like something that was like I was like, okay, let's see if I can make something that has like impact. And I was like, I like this. I was like, this turned out
Mhm.
pretty good. And the original sketch of him, like there were a lot of pixels that needed to be cleaned up and stuff, which I went back and did later. But like, the design was the same. And then like Jimmy's house, I was like, you know what? It's serviceable. I was like, I think I can work with this, and like I just kind of
Uh-huh.
built out from there, and looking back now, it's like that initial area. I'm like, the colors are so saturated, and I was like, oh, I should have desaturated those. They're like, almost painful to look at for me now. But and like the house is like almost Buster Keaton-y, like just like almost like it doesn't have enough depth to it. Like there's various things but then it's like the background looks really good. I was like, I'm pretty happy with that cloud background. And, I was happy enough with it that I went on, and I feel like that's kind of what developing the art style was like. Was just sort of like a bunch of like, yeah, this will work, and then
Yeah.
and sometimes like, okay, that actually was pretty decent. So
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, yeah, I think you mentioned one, like, once that, as you were kind of, like, going through the game, you just sort of, like, because you wanted to finish it,
mhm.
you were like, "That's done, I'm gonna move on to the next
Yeah.
thing." And I think that's quite commendable. That's the type of thing that gets you to finish a whole ass RPG instead of falling into the trap of perfectionism.
Yeah, for sure. And that was like I saw people on RPGmaker.net fall into that trap a lot. So there was a lot of just like, I'm gonna make the game and remake the game and remake the game, and I was just like, I can't get caught in this like, infinite cycle. Like it's
Hmm.
like and so I had to be like, and now I look at it and I'm like, yeah, that could have been way better. And it's like maybe some of the early segments I should have gone back and fixed, but yeah, I mean, if you get stuck in that, you just never finish. So I guess at the end of
Word.
the day, I'm okay enough with it that um,
Yeah. My goodness. Well, you surely did something right. To have all these fan questions. That's all I'll say. Um, so incredible process. Thank you so much for opening up. Um, so next we've got a question on Blue Sky from Will CKP. As an RPG Maker dev, what was the hardest mechanic to implement?
oh yeah, easy. Shaking. Shaking.
Ah,
Yeah, shaking was miserable. Like, I mean, like, when you say hardest, like, maybe this wasn't the hardest to conceptualize, and I don't really know if I had anything that was hard to really like I felt like at the time I was so into RPG Maker that I didn't have any, there wasn't really like a barrier where I was like, I would like to do this, and then just sort of like, how do I do it? And just like I was like, I knew what it was capable of, what the engine was capable of. So even like the stuff like in the arcade, I was like, oh yeah, I know how I would make this work. And I just did it.
oh, skee ball, incredible.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, I got skee ball in it.
That's so mind blowing, honestly. Um,
Hey, the show picture command, the move picture command can do wonders.
Word.
But yeah, like so shaking, what made shaking
Uh-huh.
so hard, it wasn't the actual initial implementation of shaking. Like, yeah, getting it to work with like, shaking a dude, no problem.
Hmm.
But
But you went out to every NPC.
yes, it's a scale issue. It's you do
Yeah.
you don't the way that it does that is it determines your position in comparison to the NPC. And then
Oh no.
so you then need to have every um every single position around the NPC needs to be accounted for, because you need to be able to, first it needs to be able to tell, like, am I facing this guy, am I shake, and then it's like, then when you shake them, it has to do the right animation. So that has to be
Hmm.
taken into account, because it's like, okay, well, I mean, if you're shaking them for below, you can't have the left shaking. It has to be the above shaking animation, right? So
Right.
it's just like, I had to get every single NPC. Like, if you open up the event, the common events for this game, and you see how much there is for one shaking one person has so much eventing on it. It's repulsive. It took so long, and there's like so much and so it's like, you do it and you have the dialogue, and it's like, well, I have to have the dialogue 4 different times because it's for every single way you shake.
No.
So if I mess up the dialogue,
Then you have to do it all over
I,
again.
I have to go and edit. I have to hunt down the dialogue and edit it. It was miserable. Like, easily that took the longest. But yeah, that
That
was
is just
the
like
worst
a
mechanic.
problem, such an RPG Maker problem.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I could just, like, in Game Maker, I could just imagine this going so much smoother. But it's
Yeah.
like, it part of this is part of what I like about working with RPG Maker, and part of what I miss about it is, there is like a jank level that you have to
Hmm.
deal with that feels
Yeah.
very much like, when my, like, trying to think of a good example of this. Like if like when my dad, when the antenna broke off on one of his old cars, and then he replaced it with a
Hmm.
coat hanger, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of this like jury rigging. I'm gonna like make this work, and it's like,
Yeah.
and then it's like, from the player perspective, you're just like, oh cool, I can shake people, and then it's like the what's behind that is so massive and disgusting. Like,
Yeah.
but I do like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
that's what makes it beautiful,
Yeah.
right? The whole idea of like, I'm gonna make this really cool. It's like the sort of like the tyranny of will
Yeah.
that goes into, you know, breaking this engine in two and then gluing it back
Yes.
together, you know.
Yeah, there is a
That gets me
delight.
going.
There's a delight to it.
Yes.
There really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I feel the same way, definitely. Good times. So, uh, yes, let's see. What about the bosses? Zach Morris on X wants to know about which boss was the most difficult to program.
Uh, okay, so there's the real answer for this is a boss you haven't fought yet. It'll be in the upcoming port. So, and I guess I can't really go into that, but there is a boss that has this wild series of behaviors, and it's like it's I would say juggling. I can't, you know, I'm just going to throw a number out. It's like probably juggling like 5 mechanics simultaneously. It's the most complex boss I've ever done, and it's awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing people deal with it. I think it's the hardest boss too in the game. So anyway,
Can people solve the problem? Can they defeat this
yes,
intense challenge? Time will show.
I
Yeah.
think for sure people will be able to do it. You know, but
Yeah.
and then of course people are going to do it in like super quickly in like a stupid way that I hadn't thought about. Like that's for sure going to happen. But like it's definitely like in terms of like Jimmy bosses, this one is one for the people who are like really like the mechanics and want like a challenge. Especially if you do it
Awesome.
on hard mode, and especially I'll say there is sort of like a secret way to fight it. Maybe by the time you get there, it should already have happened, but I'll let y'all find that. I don't really want to spoil it. And then, but in the game as it is now, you know, I mean, there were different challenges. Like I said, I didn't really have a hard time programming or eventing really, like eventing a boss. Like in terms of like going from the conceptual stage to like making it happen. Like I was just really comfortable with the engine at that point. Balance wise, Mr. Grouse was hard. Like I toyed with that for a while, and I still think he goes off the rails, but I think that's kind of like in line with the idea behind him. And then Buck 2 has a lot of mechanics actually. Like doesn't feel like it, but like, you know, he borrows mechanics from other fights a lot. So there's the brain bats, and then he also will do like he has a behavior set, and then he'll jump into the sky and have another behavior set, and then he'll like land, and then like
Right.
he has a thing where he will that I don't think a lot of people pick up on. He has an ability that reads Jimmy's current transformation and then does a different behavior based on which transformation he's in. He's got a thing where he'll like towards when his health bar is kind of low, where he starts charging up into like a big like a party wipe. Like there's like he's got like a lot of stuff to him, so
Right.
maybe him because of that. But yeah, I can't think of any like real standouts for like this was just too much of a pain or something.
Right. It's more just like, okay, I put a bunch of stuff in this.
Yeah, it
This
was
is
just
really
big.
cool. Yeah. Cool. Well, there you go, Zach Morris. Next, we've got a very, very specific question from MC Flatliner on X. What time signature is Cocoon throbbing in a dead man's mouth written in?
Okay, so I saw these questions briefly before I started the interview. So I had to listen to the song again to get you the answer. Like this isn't something I just know offhand. And the reason is because there is not one time signature. A lot of the horror areas and like tracks, which I would like, I kind of think of it as a horror track, have shifting time signatures, and even stuff that doesn't, like Air Spirals, the song that plays in Sacred Lantern, that has time changes. Like a lot of the stuff in Secret Meridian has time changes, because it's like, I think you can kind of make something sound kind of like erudite with that kind of, with that kind of decision.
Right.
But it also like having shifting time signatures makes things sound off kilter and difficult to predict. So here is what the time I believe, this is now from memory, so we'll see. I think the initial part of Cocoon is two measures, 1/7, 1/9. Those do not repeat. These also have syncopations in them, so they're kind of hard to track. You then have a section that's in 4, and a lot of it's in 4. The section with the keys is in 4, the organ, like that section's in 4, because that's really like, when you have something go into 4, to me that really that's the 4 is like common time, right? Like, so that feels like, okay, this is like snapping into something that like feels stable. So that section is like really should sound stable. And then there is what I would consider the kind of like the chorus for the song. It's a repeating section, is in 5. So I think, so the answer is 7, 9, 4, 5, 4, 5 again, probably. And then there's like a few, I think, later sections that I think may just be in 5. When sort of it has like a return to the like initial sound, I would say. I think when it comes back, I want to say those are in 5 again. But yeah, so there's a lot of time signatures. So it's like, because like the thing is, like with time signatures, like if you did something in 7, it's like, oh wow, that's a weird time signature. But if the whole song is in 7, it still sounds stable. So if like you're going for something that sounds unstable and you want to show that rhythmically, then you can do that with like syncopation. So like, which is just like accenting things that aren't on the beat. Or you can do that with weird meter that shifts a lot. So that's that's my answer. It's not one. It's not 1. Yes, I can't just say 7. It's like 7, 9, 4, 5.
Wow. Yeah. So if y'all ever wonder, like, why do I like this Kasey Ozymy song so much? It's because there's some real uncommon consideration going into things like the time signatures. Yeah, this stuff is like hard to come by in video game music. Very commendable.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, good times. Riki2K3 on X wants us to talk about the porting process. How did it all go?
Okay, I mean, like most of it's out of my hands, so it was for me pretty easy. Like obviously I did add things, so part of it I got sort of like to relive the Jimmy game dev experience as like a more wizened dev, and that was kind of nice. I felt like I did some stuff there that's like unexpected and neat and interesting, but still like within the world of Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
But so there was that part of it, but then like the porting is really more like, on Electric Airship's end, and they did a great job. Like I basically what I saw was like, okay, here's try it on the Switch now. And so that's just neat, it's just like, cool, I'm actually like playing my game on the Switch. Like I didn't expect this would ever happen, like, so there's that. And then like they would throw ideas at me, and I would most of the time bat them down, it felt like, but also there was like a lot of like, hey, what do you think about this font? And I was like, oh yeah, great, that's just a better, because my font was sort of like a decision where I had a font that was great and I loved it, but it was causing issues. And so I was like, this one's serviceable. And now we're back to a font where it's like, yeah, this actually like fits the tone of the game. It's cool to see this now. They added a lot of options. My favorite of which is like this, the like battle turbo feature. It's just like,
yeah.
it's just like, it's great because it's like, I figure like a lot of the people that are going to be playing the console are going to have played the original, and it just makes like combat quicker, so it's like if you already know the enemy behaviors, even, I mean, if you're playing on hard mode you may not know all of them, but like it's a way to this, and like the very tiny speedrunning community for this of two people are going to love that feature. But yeah, it's like I don't know, it was interesting, it was mostly just like, I just would work on him, and then every once in a while I'd see like a new feature, and I was like, oh yeah, that's great. That's, or a new feature getting discussed, and then I could sort of talk about it and test playing it was just a really neat experience.
Yeah. What a fun process that was. My goodness. I even had the privilege of revising a few of the enemy sprites.
Which look like, I mean, that's like work that could be infinite. But yeah, like the ones you change are, I would say, needed it the most, and they look significantly better now that they have like actual shading.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, so he also wants to hear about how you feel about the growing legacy the game is leaving. I mean, console, that's a big deal.
It's neat, like I hope that a lot of people, this brings in a lot of new players, it's hard for me to think of it, Jimmy, as like leaving a legacy. It's definitely like, obviously there, when you talk about like success from RPG Maker games, there are some out there like Omori, for instance, right, where it's just like, or like Lisa, which is like, or Yume Nikki, which are just like, okay, those are the big ones, like Jimmy has like a tight circle of there's a tight circle of Jimmy enjoyers out there. So I don't really know in terms of like legacy, like, is my game gonna really affect much? I don't really know. Like, I don't know if it has. It still feels really niche. There's definitely people that love and appreciate it. But yeah, it's hard for me to really see that. I would say like, if it does leave a legacy, I would say it might be from like the scope. Like I just it's a big game for RPG Maker.
Not meaninglessly big either. Yeah. It's like it sort of reinvents itself constantly. Yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean, if there's any games out there that take big inspiration from Jimmy, like, yeah, I think that might be what the main thing that so I hope like writing, like when I think of it, I'm like most proud of like writing and music and mechanics, like but yeah, like I would think like the scope for an RPG Maker project, I hope that people saw that and are like, oh, okay, I can do something like that. Like, I don't think I did anything like that wild, like any one thing was like that wild in terms of like, what I'd already seen in certain RPG Maker games, but like all of it combined, I'm like, oh, I can just sort of like make a dream game, or not a dream, my dream game. I can make,
wow,
I can kind of like, it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to bend on some stuff in order to fit it into to make RPG Maker work, because RPG Maker is a box. You can't have certain thing, collision detection, right? Like, you can't have really, it just doesn't have good collision detection. But like, if I'm work within this framework, I can make my dream game.
That is so huge.
Yeah, I hope that.
Nobody says that. That's so huge. That's like incredible that you're able to like say with conviction,
yeah,
I made, like my dream game, or at least an iteration of it.
Yeah.
In completion.
Yeah. I mean, I did, like, I don't really have any regrets in terms of like things that I would like, major things that I could really tweak on this to like there's certainly minor things, and like it, if I did the whole thing again, I would certainly, it would be a different game. It would be like I would make
Right.
it strong. Like I would think it would be stronger. But I mean, like for when I look at it, it's like, okay, when, gosh, how old was I? I think I was like early 30s when I finished it. But it's sort of like a late encapsulation of like what late 20s, early 30s Kasey, was going
Hmm.
for. I'm very, very proud of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can maybe count on my hand how many RPG Maker games feel like a complete artwork in the same way, but Jimmy truly stands on its own just with the sense of scale, you know? Um, yeah, so huge, huge legacy. I mean, even if it is a small community, it's touched many people profoundly. Yeah, yeah, I mean, we will also want to know, like, yeah, what would you say is your favorite improvement coming to the console version?
Well, okay, so like favorite thing are the new levels. I don't know if I really call
Uh-huh.
that like an improvement. It's more like an addition. Like, I mean, it was, hey, I get to be the Jimmy Dev again, and I get to make something
Mhm.
neat again. Um, but so like uh, and also like I mean, because then you would say like, okay, well, hard mode is pretty like really like the most difficult change I made, like the broadest change I made. But then it's just like, I don't know, like and hard mode's cool and everything, but I'm just like, here's a new area. Like there's more
Yeah,
like brain fuel there. That's just like, it's just like more stuff to like grasp onto. But
right. The hard mode, it feels kind of like, abstract when you just like,
mhm.
hard mode, but
Yeah,
it's quite cool,
thanks.
the way that you've done it with the new behaviors and,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's like yeah, every enemy has different behavior than, or I would say additional behaviors most of the time. Sometimes they'll have behaviors removed, in order to make them more difficult.
Mhm.
But for the most part, it's like they get additional behavior, and like um, there are surprises in there too. I would say there's
Yeah.
certain monsters. Or for instance, I think this was shared, so I'll say it. Like the rotting jack o' lantern fight, for instance, has a couple two ads in it, so it's just like that changes the dynamic of the fight like a lot.
Mhm.
And they're not just like, hey, we just attack and that's it. Like they have gimmicks too. Um,
Right.
so I don't want to like spoil it. I want those things to be surprises. So it's like, because the idea of
Yeah.
hard mode was like, okay, like you're coming back and playing this. I'm you're entrusting me to make something for you when you come back to play this, and you're going to play the whole game again. So I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
well, I would like to add some novelty to that. So that was
Right,
really
definitely.
that was really the idea. But yeah, like let's see. So I guess, I mean, I guess if we're just talking improvements, then yeah, probably that.
Yeah.
But then like if you're saying improvements would be like what was done on Electric Airship's end, then it would be the I mentioned it before, but the battle turbo. It just makes everything,
Right.
like
Right.
you can it's like you can play the game again, and then instead of being like, oh no, this is going to be a 40-hour time commitment, maybe I don't want to do that. It's going to
Yeah.
be half that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so many great improvements coming to this port.
Hmm.
Definitely something to check out. Yeah, goodness gracious. So, yeah, I mean, you've got a new game coming out, which is it looks huge. It's your most refined project yet. Beautiful art, engaging gameplay, a world of anthropomorphic bugs. What's more to love? Um, Hymn to the Earless God. It's widely known as a Kickstarter success. And what part of that game are you most excited for players to experience?
Okay, well, I don't want to like. I mean, I don't really want to spoil stuff,
Right.
so I don't want to go into like too specific or be too specific here. But like I would say the antagonist for the back half of Flim's game is great. I am very happy with that character. So it's like a lot of it would just be like little character moments, little writing moments are probably like the things that I'm most interested in. Now, there is we haven't done it yet, so maybe it won't maybe it won't work out great. But like there is a super boss called the Cryo Spider that I'm interested in people fighting in terms of like just like gameplay moments.
That sounds quite terrifying.
It's a world-ending spider that's wrapping the world.
No.
It's a world-ending spider that is slowly wrapping the world in webs, and it's sort of contained.
Yeah.
So when you first go through the area, it's impossible. Like you cannot fight this thing. So it's like you have to avoid it. And then late game you can fight it, and I'm really looking forward. Like I have ideas in mind, so I don't really want to like convey those, because if they don't work out, then I will have promised something that doesn't deliver. But like at the very least, there is a giant world-ending spider in the game, and I'm looking forward to people seeing it.
I love bosses like that. Yeah. Like there's that giant snake in Sekiro. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yeah.
It's like feels like this overwhelming thing, and then later on you can finally sort of take it down.
Yeah.
Good times. Well, that's definitely something I'm excited for. But yeah, like I mentioned, it was on Kickstarter. Like, how do you view that platform today?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we did not get into Kickstarter when I guess I would say it was like its heyday or whatever, right? Like there was sort of a period where Kickstarter was like crazy. And but it was still very interesting, and I mean we were successful, so it's definitely not a dead platform by any means. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, it was an interesting experience. It worked. It was hard, and it was a nail biter. Like it was difficult, and when I say it was hard, it was like it wasn't like hard in terms of like, oh, this is so hard to set up your Kickstarter page. It's like emotionally difficult, because you at the time I was like, I really want to work on the game, and just that's what I'm always like. I just want to just get this done, So I was like trying to work on the game, and I was somewhat successful, but it's like a lot of my day was just like, well, maybe I should check the Kickstarter again and see how it's going, or oh, the Kickstarter's not doing well. Let me, in order to feel better about its potential, let me send out some more, some more emails to streamers and stuff, which like I looked at my list for that the other day, and I had sent out, and I did not batch send this out, by the way. This wasn't like I'm going to send out 100 emails to 100 people. I sent out individual emails that I had like a copy or whatever, right? And then I would like edit it to make it specific to this person. So if it was like, maybe I would talk about influences that were something that they might be more interested in.
Yeah, that's a vibe. That's what I've been doing for the past like 2 weeks.
It's like, yeah, it's awful. My list was over 600 people.
Yeah.
So this was, within a month, I would just sit down and be like, okay, today I'm just going to look for people who might like my game. And I was looking, and I just was like, at the time Sea of Stars had come out. So I was looking for people that played Sea of Stars, because I'm like, okay, well, Sea of Stars has sort of the on-map Chrono Trigger style encounters.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so that's something that people are interested in that play Sea of Stars. So like I was looking at everyone, like
lots of competitor research,
or a shorter search, people that liked Linus. Like I was like, okay, who likes Linus here? It's like, oh, 3 people. Okay, well, I'll send I'll send them something for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You
like
got to reach the Lennis crowd.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the small and not very vocal Linus crowd. But yeah, like no, I totally like sent out, like I said, over 600 emails, individualized. The research that went in, I was just like a sweaty mess for that
Mm-hmm.
month, So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
if you are thinking about doing a Kickstarter, that's a consideration. Like you may not get, like, luckily I had done Jimmy,
Mm-hmm.
so I had a baked in audience already, and I had some credibility, I think, because I think one of the biggest issues with Kickstarter is there have been games that never delivered, and there are games that didn't deliver the experience that was promised.
Yeah.
So for me, it was I was like, hey, I've done this. I've done a large scale RPG before. This is going to happen. It may take longer than projected. It's like depending on how well the funding goes, but like I just wanted to be really honest.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody, like, if you're coming to Kickstarter and you don't have like any kind of pedigree, you can get
Right.
overlooked unless you're just like promise is that captivating, like
Right.
which it can be, like, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's as a platform, it's tough, but like if you want to avoid having like a publisher, and like you want to self publish,
Mm-hmm.
which was important for me, for him, because it's not just me. It's also like at this point, like, there's 4 people on the team, and uh, Jason, my programmer,
Mm-hmm.
is he's like one of my best friends. Like he's been like we've known each other since 3rd grade.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, like when I was talking about that unsuccessful band earlier, he was the drummer for that.
Oh,
Like,
incredible. Day ones.
yeah, like so there's always this like like or there has been for some since college, really, like this like dream of being able to like work together,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we're doing. So it's like it's not
Mm-hmm.
just my decision. Like I was at the point where I was like, we can do a publisher, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. But he was like, no, I don't want to sacrifice any kind of like artistic integrity
Yeah.
potentially,
Mm-hmm.
or have them do something weird with like I wanted to be art. So if you're trying to self-publish, uh, and you need money, like Kickstarter is one of the few options out there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like otherwise, like if we did that, we wouldn't have the art that we do. Like we'd have
Mm-hmm.
like we wouldn't have been able to afford it. So
Mm-hmm.
super thankful that we did it. Super thankful for how it went and everybody that supported us. So it's definitely a viable platform, but big emotional toll, and
Mm-hmm.
it's you know, it can fail, and like
Mm-hmm.
we faced that, like, whatever it was, like 30 days or whatever. 25, 26 days of
Mm-hmm.
that, or maybe the first days were okay, but like I would say a solid like 2/3 of that month were me thinking for sure it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta be ready for that
Mm-hmm.
emotionally. But
Yeah.
yeah, but overall, I mean, it's just like it worked. It's still viable.
Mm-hmm. Holy cannoli. Yeah, that sounds like a lot. That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
Definitely not for the faint of heart, but like you said, one of the few options for us indie devs. Um yeah. Well, congrats then. Your hard work paid
Thank you.
off. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Uh
It's like, I say it's my hard work, but it's like my hard work was begging people for money, and I was
that
a
is hard
successful.
work. That's a
I was a su-
full-time job.
I was a successful beggar. That's true.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's like it's hard to be like, oh yeah, this is all thanks to me. It's like, no, it's like thanks to, like, I'm just like
Right.
super grateful people believe in it, and like they'll still, like, when I do a Kickstarter update, I'm just like, it's like, here are the realities of this project. Like, it's huge. It's bigger than Jimmy. Like, it's
Mhm.
and I'm just like, it takes X long to make a level, and like it's
Yeah.
like, so it's like we're looking at 2 more years. and it's like, and some change, and then like, and people are just like, hey, you know, I think I was expecting at some level someone to be like, oh great, you know, another false promise or something like that. But instead,
Right.
it's like people being like, thanks for working on it every day. You know, it's like wild and
Yes.
really cool.
Yeah. They trust you. They know you're cooking. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I am happy to hear that. That sounds like a great dynamic, and very excited to see where this game goes over the next few years. So, what is going on here? We've got a few questions from fans about him to the Earless God.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so Sappy on Blue Sky says, having actually played Earthbound as I write this and planning to play Mother 3, I'm interested in what inspired your art style choices, how they evolved between Jimmy and this new game.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like the broad inspirations I've already made clear. It's like Linus, 100%. Like
Hmm.
I'm pulling from Linus on there. Like when you go and you play, especially Linus 2, because I
Hmm.
feel like they got a stronger grasp of art direction in the game.
Hmm.
Like, it's an alien world. Like it feels, and it just feels totally unique.
It's like the Morrowind of JRPGs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and there's and I wish I had I still have this book. I should have grabbed it actually. There was like a an art book that inspired a lot of the art for the Linus series,
Really?
and
Oh, I'd be intrigued to see that.
yes, I can. Finding it now is going to be a chore. It's somewhere on a bookshelf, uh, but I'll see if I can unearth it for you personally. Maybe
Oh,
not
that'd
for
be
the interview,
awesome. Yeah.
but yeah, it's like that kind of that kind of thing was definitely like a consideration for him. And but you know, it's really like I had done like some sprites and made like a few like little like tree like weird trees and stuff where I was like, yeah, so I had like a tree that was like uh very geometric that I made, and like
Mhm.
that just felt weird and alien. And I had some like really early stuff that I sent to Cube Sona, who's like he did a he did a fan some fan art for Jimmy
Mhm.
forever ago.
And it's, like, brilliant.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And he's such a good like character designer, and it's like, you know, he just took these like aspects of like the Jimmy characters and like exaggerated them and like played them in the right way. Like he's so
Mhm.
good. But so he did some Jimmy fan art. I want to say, I think I reached out to him first about doing when I did some a vinyl for Jimmy, and
Mhm.
I asked him to do like some art for the insert in the vinyl, and he did, it turned out great, and I liked that a lot, and I believe I was in my head I was like, I want to like because he had also done like some I think like a little RPG Maker thing. Like it was never like materialized into a full game, but it's like he had like some screenshots for like, you know, this like idea, and I was
Mhm.
like, and so I was already thinking like, should I was like, I kind of want to contact him about art for him and see if he'd be interested in that kind of thing and like see what he can
Mhm.
do. And he just like emailed me first or messaged me on Discord first or something, and was just like, "Hey, if you're ever going to remake Jimmy and you need a sprite guy, I'd love to do it." And I was just like, "Well, that's probably not going to happen anytime soon." I was like, I don't have any plans for that, but I've got this other game I've been thinking about, and I so it was like I probably like a month or two prior to when I would have just sent it to him anyway, you know. But yeah, then it's like, you know, I sent him what I had. So he had some of the sprites and stuff, and general direction were
Mhm.
very like and they were pretty Linux coded. I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And he took those and then interpreted them into his own art style. So a lot of the art design is him, right? It's not me. And like I just sort of like give him seeds, like either through the pictures that I drew, which like he takes elements of, but I mean they look totally unique, to like descriptions, like written descriptions. And he makes stuff that is just significantly cooler than I could have imagined.
Hmm.
And so part of this question is really probably more for him and his thought process. But yeah, that's kind of how it works. Like, I mean, for instance, like I did there's a I guess I don't want to go into it's sort of a key moment in the game. Say there's a machine. There's a machine design, and I sent him. I was like, this is important, and I opened up MS Paint and I drew sort of the room and like the machine in 30 seconds, right? Just a really rough shape. And then he sends me back this and like and then I gave him like an explanation over like why I made the like few decisions I made and like why they're important. And then he reinterprets it into this like really unique, brilliant uh uh Geiger influence thing that I'm just like, this is amazing.
Oh, that
So
sounds terrifying. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
it's great. It's exactly what I wanted. That except I didn't even with like aspects of it that are like beyond what I expected. You know?
Huh. Okay, that's
Yeah,
wild. Okay, some Geiger influence in this new game? That's out of
yeah.
left field. Yeah.
Hmm.
Good times. Yeah, so fascinating, fascinating. There you go, Sappy. Great answer for you there. Um some idiot 32 on X asks, the thing I like about Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass is the optional bosses. Sure, other RPGs have them, but Jimmy felt better to me. Usually they're late game, but Slither can be fought at level 8 with 2 party members. What I'm saying is, will the next game, Him to the Earless God, have the same feature?
Well, first off, I think you should think more highly of yourself, some idiot. That was a great question. Uh, the yeah, like yeah, there's okay. I do kind of wish, in retrospect, I did more of it, but that was definitely a consideration. And there definitely are optional bosses and levels throughout the game. I would say there's more in Jimmy, um, but a lot of it is back ended. I would say there's there's the part of Jimmy where you get the airship or the spaceship, and you can like the world opens up. I've
Mhm.
always loved that kind of thing.
Oh, it's
So
great.
this has that. So him has that to like an extreme. Like there's a lot that opens up late game. But yeah, there are also bosses, and little and small and little extra levels and stuff spread throughout the game too. But it's definitely more back ended than Jimmy, but that element is still present, and that is something that I also really loved about game design is when at like if you're writing a story at some level there needs to be a degree of linearity, but I do love having non-linear components where like little branching
Mhm.
things you can do. I do love that. So that is
Yeah.
still present, but yeah, I like it was I would say more so in Jimmy, but there's also maybe the same degree of it, just kind of like it's just a bit more on the back half of the game.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Well, great answer there. Um, yeah, and I have one final question for you. You have so many vocal fans. You're one of the few RPG Maker devs that really did it, and that's huge. What is your advice for indie RPG devs starting today, wanting to make their best possible debut?
Okay. Make trash. Make bad games. Make like don't start making like don't go like I'm gonna make
Right.
the absolute best game in the universe. Start with small scale projects.
Mhm.
Use a pseudonym if you're afraid of this affecting your debut or whatever. But I don't think
Right.
people like I had earlier games that aren't as good and people found the value in them too. Like if you're like being genuine when you're making it, like people are going to find
Mhm.
value in it if they find it, right?
Right.
But yeah, like I would don't start with your big dream project. Start with smaller dream projects to learn the editor. And it's
Yeah.
like once you're comfortable with the editor, then yeah, shoot for the stars. Like that's great, and you should do it. There's a million little lessons in game design, so it's like the thing that's going to help you um, learn those is one, like I said, making smaller games that where you can make a complete thing and kind of get a feel for the editor and like what it can do.
Mhm.
Two is uh, playing a lot of RPG Maker games. Like
Huge.
just take the time to do it, like because it's really easy to like let your sort of like dream like lead you, and then you sort of fall in a trap where you make something and you're in over your head. Like
Mhm.
you play a bunch of games, play like I was saying earlier, play good games and bad games. Um, playing a bad game, you get to kind of have make fun of it when you play,
Yeah.
and like it's still enjoyable, and it's like, and if it's frustrating, it's like as you're playing, just kind of go like, why is this so frustrating?
Right.
And if it's fun, go, why is it so fun? What do I enjoy about
Right.
this?
And even with bad games, though, there's like that
Mhm.
kernel of spontaneity, somebody
Yeah,
learning the engine, they've got something very unique. Mhm.
for sure. Like there was uh, a really like when I did the indie game maker contest, like there were so many people that submitted games, and so I was just going and playing stuff that looked interesting and weird. And
Mhm.
yeah, I still remember there was one made by like probably I like a 16-year-old girl, I think, and
Mhm.
from like a Nordic country, I forget which one, but yeah, it was just
Mhm.
so like there was like it was way too like there were problems, right? It was way too
Yeah.
easy. There was like an area called like desert of sand, for instance. Like it was just like, okay, yeah, it's it's like there's like those kinds of things where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's. But I mean, when I would like, I made my first game, like I said, had slash and burn, Axel guy. He was,
Yeah.
a real piece of shit. Like, it's like that's fine, like to work those kinds of things out. So it's not a judgment on this dev by any means. And then there was like a moment in the game where you talk to an NPC, and the NPC sings a song, and it's not done through dialogue in the game. It's legitimately this dev's voice singing like this really sweet song, and it like touched
Oh,
me. Like I
yeah.
still think about it, like I'm like
Yeah.
that's like a little piece of her, that like
Mhm.
that sort of transferred to me, right? That was conveyed to me. And so yeah, even games that aren't successful, we're way off topic, but even games that aren't successful, yes, there's certainly things to love about them.
Yeah.
And there's lessons both ways, and like I said, both like professional and amateur games, like
Yeah.
play a wide diet. But it's like if you're specifically like an RPG Maker dev, definitely play lots of RPG Maker games. There is
Mhm.
no shortage of them. um like it's you get a feel for, and especially if you can do the ones with like if you're working with a specific RPG Maker engine, so like VXAs or 2K3 or whatever, like like you see what the engine's capable of.
Mhm.
And that's like, for instance, I played a game that had a world map. It had like a world map they bring up, and it would like show your position on the world map, and I was like, I can do that. It's like why
Yeah.
don't it, I was like, I didn't think about it. I didn't even think like, oh yeah, you can do like a little world map. And then I was like, I immediately when I saw it, I was like, you can make world maps in RPG Maker. How would you do
Mhm.
that? And then I go like, oh yeah, you do a picture overlay, and you can put like a little transparency, and then it would like check your position on the world map, and then it's like you can then change the position of the dot based on that. It's like you can then like once you know that it's been done, you can do it's like, okay, I can do it.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like that's like super important info. So it's like I guess my advice was play broadly, like play a
Mhm.
lot. And definitely start small before you do your big game. And but yeah, it's like other than that, like plan, whatever what's the saying, like measure twice, draw or cut once or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like definitely spend more time planning. Um,
Right.
don't be afraid. Like, I mean, at some level, you're going to have to start, and it's like, definitely like do a little like test out and make sure everything. It's like, okay, I want to do this thing. Make sure it all works before you just like hop into it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like take time planning, make some like pretty
Mm-hmm.
detailed spreadsheets. It's like I enjoy it. Like that part, that's like one of my favorite parts of the process, because it's all conceptual and you don't have to like
Mm-hmm.
face your own shortcomings yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like so yeah, definitely take the time to plan. Like any game, like I feel like any game needs to be like everything needs to be considered. Like any art in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like music, film,
Mm-hmm.
like anything, any medium. What I find as I get older is I just really like when everything feels considered and it all sort of like
Right.
combines to make whatever it is you're making. Like
That sense of intentionality.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
that I would say definitely like planning is how you get there, and make sure that
Yeah.
everything sort of adds up to whatever it is you're doing. Like if all you want to do is have like a horror game that is like frightening or something, and you don't really have any like
Mm-hmm.
bigger symbolic intentions or anything like that, everything just needs to add up to that. Just make sure
Mm-hmm.
that it's like you keep taking like the players like feelings as they're playing into consideration.
Right.
But yeah, like yeah, it like I said, there's like a million little lessons that you learn, but that's at least how you can start learning them. But yeah.
Huge. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Casey. It's been a lot of fun. I know I've learned a lot. And yeah, so we like to reserve this last spot for you to give any shout outs.
So like Starseed Games is like my company, um,
Mhm.
or my company or whatever. It's me and Jason. Uh, it's me and Jason and the two artists that we're paying. But yeah, like we're on Blue Sky. Like I will talk on Blue Sky and Tumblr occasionally, and also still Twitter. And I apologize for that. I know
I
it's
know.
I know it's a garbage fire, but like
It is what it
I don't
is. We
know.
got to
Yeah.
leverage dying platforms where we can.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it is just a dying platform, and that's it.
Mhm.
But I would like Blue Sky to get bigger for sure.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like Hymn to the Earless God, like it's pretty easy. Like I pick title, or so far my titles have all been things very easily Googleable. So
Mhm.
you can find information on Hymn to the Earless God or Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass pretty easily just by googling those. So
Mhm.
yeah, just keep an eye out. Like obviously the port is coming out February 5th. So keep an eye out for that. And then for him, probably going to be a few years, but you can still, like, if you're interested in the process or something, then Kickstarter, I get pretty detailed updates every 3 months. So that's always something you can look forward to. Yeah, I guess that's
Awesome.
about it. I wish I had more
Cool.
friends to like boost up right now. We mentioned
Yeah.
ZDS earlier. You can obviously check him out.
Oh, ZDS rocks.
Yeah,
Yes, please
uh,
go play ZDS's games.
yeah. Also, uh, big big RPG Maker friend who I will always shout out if given the opportunity is Unity. Uh, if you are
Oh.
familiar, I don't know, Unity. She kind of like played my first game in RPG Maker, or not my the one on PlayStation, but like the first one I made on PC,
Mhm.
and like really liked it somehow,
Mhm.
in spite of everything. And like yeah, kind of like, and she was just like kind of starting as a dev too around that time. And
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like we just kind of grew up together in like the RPG Maker world.
That's awesome. Yeah,
But
she did Weird and Unfortunate Things Are Happening,
yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah, great game.
that is. I think she's done several, but I think that's probably the game that she's made that at this point kind of has like the most merit and has sort of like biggest outreach or whatever. Like
Mhm.
definitely play Weird and Unfortunate Things Are Happening if you haven't, because it's kind of like a Bizarro Jimmy in a sense. Like it is like
Yeah.
it kind of did like uh she started making it around the same time, and like we both had this like the same inspirations, right? Like at some level,
Mhm.
there's like Earthbound and Yumeniki are both like inspirations for both of them. She pulls other things too, you know, like and so
Mhm.
it's a different experience entirely. But
Yeah.
there was sort of the same like, you know, primordial goo that they
Yeah.
arose from. But yeah, like it's a great game, very cool exploration in that game.
Yeah.
Some very cool moments.
Yeah, definitely, if you like Jimmy, go check that game
Mhm.
out. It's free and,
Yeah,
like, it's got the eldritch horror, it's got the
yeah.
sort of, like, sort of, like, Earthbound, like, real world, setting.
I
Yeah.
I really hope that she uh goes back to that, and like it's gonna take a lot, but to like clean it up, like in terms of like, because she's gonna have to get new music for it and stuff to make it like sellable,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But I would love for her to like. I think it's a game that could easily be like sold. You know, like I think it's a
Oh, 100%.
yeah, it's
Love the game.
super fun. And yeah, she's working on a new game now. That is I don't want to say the title because I'm gonna mispronounce it. It's like I think it's called Isrindalur. Uh,
Right, okay.
but I hope I didn't do the name dirty. But like I did a few tracks for that, in fact. So
Oh,
uh,
exciting.
yeah, which I can't share. I did one track for Weird and Unfortunate Things Are Happening, actually, which
Uh-huh.
was just like a Secret Santa thing I gave her.
Oh, fun.
But yeah, this time she actually like asked me for a couple tracks, and I composed them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, so there's a little bit of, and they're pretty sick tracks too. I'll say,
Oh, hell
pretty
yeah.
pretty happy with them. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah,
That's
like
alright, that's cool.
so always keep an eye on her. I'm not really sure where she's at on that project right now. Um, I haven't talked to her in a bit, but yeah, always Unity, always yeah, Unity's great, ZDS is great. Yeah,
Yeah. Sweet. Thank you so much for being, on the interview here. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun.
yeah, it was great.